Hello and welcome, gorgeous sky watchers. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. This is a presentation about that Aries the Ram is like dragon in Chinese horoscopes. Okay, so you have Western Astrology, Aries, sign of Aries the Ram, the fiery nature ruled by Mars, okay? The active, courageous, fiery nature of the Sefer of Gebura in Kabbalah, okay? And then it's similar to dragon in Chinese astrology. Now, it's pretty easy to see how Aries could be like dragon because they both deal with fire. You got your fire-breathing dragon, right? And you got your fiery Aries. And they're both very good. You always see, Aries, the god of war, that's Greek, and then you have Mars, ruled by Mars. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet Mars, the god of war for the Romans. And dragon, you always see dragons, in wars with, like a knight in shining armor will be fighting a dragon or something, all right? And I know a lot of times Aries prefers to think of themselves as the knight of shining armor, but really you can't have one without the other, and they're two sides of the same coin. And really, dragon just represents our creative and sexual energy that is subdued by the great knight, but without it, there would be no birth of human beings or any animals, and no universe, there'd be no existence. So it's not really an evil thing. You're better off getting to know your dragon and having your dragon be something that you love, and that you have in a relationship with, that you understand, rather than something that you're trying to kill. Otherwise you won't be able to fall in love or have relationships. So that's what that's about. But anyway, with that said, dragon and Aries are both seen as being fierce and being able to be heroes. Okay, now dragon again is more often seen as a villain, but not always. There's a lot of stories where dragon is a hero as well, and there's some where a warrior or a soldier is like Aries is maybe a hero or a villain. They can be both, but they're engaged in warfare. They're engaged in battle, and they're about courage. And dragon is very much about majesty. And Aries is very much about really making sure that everybody's doing the right thing, sort of the warrior mindset, that everybody's doing what's right and might is right and that kind of thing. So this is one comparison in Chinese astrology versus Western astrology. I mean, versus is the right word. When you compare the two, that the correlation is rather simple to see. It makes sense that the fire-breathing dragon and the Aries the ram and the war god, Greece and Rome, that those can be the same zodiac sign. And the month is just a few days off, but it's generally the same one, because dragon is it's more like a April, May, okay? So it's that part of spring, and that sort of falls around a similar time to Aries. So it's based on the time of year. And in some places, we have people that, cultures where they notice that they're, that certain types of, kimono dragons or whatever, or they have ancient stories of bigger dragons, that do certain things at certain times of year. And other people notice that people are more courageous at certain times of year. And, it's that kind of a thing. And Aries the ram, that would be how a ram would maybe take two rams would be butting their heads together and in combat, and they would see that, but it's that same energy, okay? It's that fiery sort of warrior, soldier, conquering king, one who wins by his own hand, and one who guards his treasure, like the dragon, okay? So that's where the comparison is, the time of year, and that's why it's the same. Now, some you would think, are in Chinese, when you compare it to Western astrology, you would think that they're very, different. And we're gonna touch on that in some other videos. We're gonna make another one now on Taurus and Snake. And see, now those don't seem alike at all. And you would think that Taurus would be like Ox, but it's not. So stay tuned for that video. We'll see that one next. But before we get to that, understand this. A lot of times people think that Aries or dragon are not really helping anybody but themselves, but you know what? They are. Dragon just doesn't, and Aries don't tell other people that they're helping them. They keep it secret but they do help. And a lot of times Aries starts and dragons start to get sort of frustrated because other people might think, you know, they don't like all of their qualities because they think they're too strong or something, or too fiery or too combative. But because of those capabilities, they were able to save a lot of the lives of the people that think that of them. Okay? So understand that. Because the ancient Chinese story talks about how dragon, you know, saved some other zodiac animals from drowning, and villages, saved villages and villagers and stuff like that. So just understand that that's a common thing that's thought about Aries and dragon, but in reality, they're actually have helped people, but you just don't know about it. So you might think they're a villain and they're actually a hero for real, okay? All right, so we'll see you next time for the next installment.